everybody, and welcome to another WeatherCastUSA Quickcast. On this Quickcast, we're going to break down the western windstorm affecting millions of people from the Pacific Northwest, the Northern Rockies, Intermountain West, and the Front Range and High Plains. This is the current map overlaid with the radar. We had some severe thunderstorm warnings, actually destructive severe thunderstorm warnings, and some considerable threat tags across Idaho this morning. One of the Mesonet sites was 83 mile an hour thunderstorm wind gusts. Those have since relaxed a little bit as they're approaching southeast parts of Idaho and extreme northern Utah at the moment. May get another few rounds of some severe thunderstorms in the Intermountain West this afternoon, but things are generally winding down a little bit as far as the severe thunderstorm activity, at least for now. It looks pretty confusing. There's a lot of colors going on here. I'll break it down for you a little bit. The reddish colors up here in northern Montana, now new red colors here. This is in the Red River Valley near Grand Forks in parts of North Dakota and Minnesota. And then over here, the Cascades and the Olympic ranges. That red color, those are blizzard warnings. Blizzard warning are up for the Cascades for 70 mile an hour winds, really feet of snow across the Cascades and the Olympic ranges. And then further to the east across the plains of Montana and also into the Dakotas and Minnesota. A little less snow, about 1 to 4 inches expected across those areas. So it's more for the high winds up to 50, 55 mile an hour and also blowing snow conditions. So not in feet of snow like we're seeing in the Cascades, but in either locations there could be and likely will be blizzard conditions, reducing the visibility to almost zero. So it's going to be very hard to travel, even with the minimal snowfall across the Dakotas and the Northern Plains. It's still going to be just a very, very rough travel with whiteout conditions and that blowing snow in the 50 to 70 mile an hour range generally across those 3 locations. I wouldn't be surprised if we see a few more blizzard warnings fill in here across the Northern Plains. Those are new as of really just setting up this stream. So those are new probably as of midday in the central and mountain time zones. A little heavier snowfall expected in the Iron Range of Minnesota, 4 to 6 inches, and some spots in that 7 to 8 inch range across there. So those blue boxes, you can see some here in the Intermountain West. Those are winter storm watches again. And then the pink and purple colors are winter weather advisories and winter storm warnings. We can see those stretching down the Rockies and also into some of the southern parts of the Cascades, into the Oregon area, east of Portland. We have flash flood watches in that lighter green color covering much of the Pacific Northwest. The atmospheric river is still in effect. That will start to shift southward a little bit, so we're going to see a little more of the heavy rain into Thursday and into the weekend, shift a little bit more into the areas here in Oregon and even Northern California. Maybe getting a little bit of a break of the heaviest rain up into the Pacific Northwest, the Seattle area. It's gotten a really, really just long-lasting plume of moisture with the atmospheric river. All of this is associated with a system working across the Northern Rockies. You can see essentially most of the Intermountain West, the Northwest, and then spreading into the Front Range and the High Plains as the yellow and tan colors. Those are high wind warnings, and those cover a massive amount of territory. In fact, if I just stretch it out from the coast of Oregon all the way to areas here around Sioux Falls, I mean, close to like 1,500 miles straight of high wind warnings. And they vary a little bit depending on location, but some areas, a lot of the areas, it's going to be a sustained winds of 25 to 35 miles an hour, and then gusts up into that 60 mile an hour range. Very concerned for the Front Range of the Rockies. This is where downsloping winds, Chinook winds, they dry and warm as they downslope off the mountains. And that creates really low humidity, warm temperatures, so that's nice. But high winds plus really low humidity is an increased danger for fires. And that's where we see this orange color. This is the Storm Prediction Center fire risk, basically stretching along the Front Range and some of the southern high plains. Overlapping with that, you can see that pink color. Those boxes are red flag warnings. Again, they overlap a lot of that same area. The red flag warnings for the critical fire danger. Rapid fire spread is possible with those dry humidity levels and the high winds. There actually has been purposeful power outages expected across parts of the Front Range to reduce some of those chances of live wires coming down, because the winds are going to increase here this afternoon. And you can see here above me, we have a camera thanks to Colorado Trip 511. It's been kind of shaking up and down a little bit at times. It's kind of wobbled. Hasn't shown the strong gusts that are expected later today. And as I'm talking here, we actually did see, looks like some of these blizzard warnings fill in across North Dakota. So they are expanding those, as I mentioned earlier. Zooming in to Idaho a little bit, we've had a number of severe thunderstorm reports, 76 mile an hour earlier today. And then in this area here between Burley and Hayburn and the Pocatello area, that's where we've had the 83 mile an hour wind report, some thunderstorm winds at Coldwater, Idaho. That line is moving off into northern parts of Utah. We'll see if we get any wind warnings there. Just recently, there was a 75 mile an hour wind report from a mesonet in Bear Lake County. So wouldn't be surprised if we see a few more severe thunderstorm warnings in those areas for those high winds. And yeah, the camera's bobbling a little bit more here in the last minute or so, just looking at that. It sometimes at times has looked like you're kind of at sea looking at this camera. So you can definitely see the higher winds, a little bit of snow activity up in the very high terrain of the Rockies. That's not expected to be down in the lower elevations around Denver, where it's going to be about 68 to 70 degrees today. Okay, looking at some of the AGL temperatures on the NDFD, we can really see here along the Front Range, the southern high plains, those lower humidity levels. Zooming in here in the Denver metro, just looking here, 20 for the dew point. That's a really dry atmosphere. Areas here into southern Colorado, even in the teens for dew point. And that's going to continue, I think, most of the day today. So, yeah, and actually, with the passing of that system, it even gets to lower dew points by this evening. So, really, really extreme low dew points with the gusty winds. That creates those fire dangers. And I do want to take a look here, look at the snow totals. So, snow totals through the next couple of days, you can see them really adding up in the Cascades and the Olympic Range, and then into the parts of the Northern Rockies over the next few days. By the end of the week, by Sunday, you can see also those snow totals adding up over the northern plains and the Arrowhead of Minnesota. But really looking out about 24 hours, this is about the snowfall total for the next 24 hours. So you can see several feet of snow possible in the Cascades, those higher elevations. Certainly a foot of snow potential here in the Rockies, especially after the system kind of moves through and you get that cooler air on the backside of the system. And then later today and overnight into the Colorado Rockies. And you can see that snow on the northern side and also the backside of the system working through the northern plains. So this will look at the NDFD forecast for the peak wind gusts. These higher pink colors are in that 60 to 70 mile an hour range. It may overdo it a little bit, but we can get a sense, especially on those higher terrain levels, there are potentials there for over 70 mile an hour winds. It overdoes it, I think, a little bit, especially at the lower altitudes, but gives you a good idea. Essentially, those pink 60 to 70 mile an hour wind gusts, potentially localized areas a little higher than that, and then 50s and 60s in those yellow and orange colors. And if I center the map up a little bit, we can put this into motion, and over the next day or so, you can really see how that wind energy with the system works to the east. That's why we're expecting the peak winds to pick up here this afternoon across the Front Range of the Rockies, across the Denver metro, Pueblo, Colorado. There's a couple gustier winds. That camera's starting to rock and roll a little more there, just as we're talking. But you can see later in the day also across eastern portions of Montana, getting into the Dakotas as well, some pretty gusty winds there. And again, for the Dakotas up into Minnesota, those gusty winds are going to be associated with some moderate snowfall at times, which will create those blizzard conditions. And then moving into tomorrow across the Central Plains, the Dakotas down into Kansas, Nebraska, there are wind advisories there going into tomorrow. Wouldn't be surprised if some of those get upgraded to some high wind warnings. Some of this is going to be also on the backside with cooler air rushing in behind the frontal boundary. The low pressure of this system is going to kind of track basically along the Canadian border. So it's going to stay pretty tight up to the Canadian border, but it will draw a cold front to the south and east. And that will bring some gusty winds, potentially for some severe weather across the areas here in the lower Ohio Valley tomorrow. This particular product doesn't look at the severe thunderstorm winds. This is just the overall general peak wind gusts. So these are non-thunderstorm winds that we're looking at here. And yeah, you can see how that moves across the Rockies and the Intermountain West today, and then starts to kind of dive towards the south and east, and does weaken by the end of the day tomorrow across the Great Lakes. Although still some gustier winds, but we're not seeing those brighter colors that indicate the 50-mile-an-hour plus winds. Just a note, you can see the next atmospheric river system by tomorrow entering the picture with some stronger winds along the coastal areas of the Pacific Northwest, as well as the higher terrain of the Cascades, particularly into Oregon. As I mentioned, the next atmospheric river is going to shift a little bit more towards the south, a little less action for Seattle and the extreme Northwest, and more into areas here into Oregon and also into Northern California. So we start to see this on the forecast data as well. And over the next day or so, Friday and Saturday, you can see that does spread gustier winds back into the Intermountain West and probably along the Front Range again by the weekend. Not quite as punchy as our current system. You can definitely see if I roll it back and forth, you can kind of see the difference of those forecast winds. You can also kind of make out the higher terrain. So it's showing that most of the higher gusts are going to be on those higher mountain peaks and ridges, versus right now where it's actually overspread a lot, not just the higher terrain. So that's a quick look at the western windstorm, bringing heavy snow at portions of the Cascades, the Olympics, and also blizzard conditions and snowfall across the northern plains. A massive area, about 1,500 miles wide, of a swath of high wind warnings. Some of those wind gusts in the 60 to 70 mile an hour range. Potential for some isolated severe gusts in the thunderstorms, with reports already this morning in Idaho of 75 to 80 mile an hour winds in some of those cells. And we are also watching the fire danger, especially across the Front Range and the southern high plains, where red flag warnings are in effect for critical fire weather across the Colorado Front Range, the high plains of Colorado. And now, just as we were wrapping up the forecast, they've added a bunch of red flag warnings for western Kansas. So just want to make a note of that. Basically anywhere eastern Colorado, western Kansas, that's our critical fire weather. Reduce any activities that could lead for sparks, and please report any fires very quickly to authorities, as these conditions could create rapid fire spread. And then, we'll keep an eye on the northern plains for those winter storm warnings, and also now those blizzard warnings in effect as we go late on Wednesday and into Thursday with some of those blizzard conditions. Before we leave here, let me just check a couple of these new warnings, blizzard warnings here across the Dakotas. Yeah, still in that 1 to 3 inch, 1 to 4 inch kind of snowfall range, but wind gusts possibly now up to 70 miles an hour are possible. And that starts midnight tonight through 6 p.m. on Thursday. So it's going to be a continued threat into Thursday across the northern plains for those blizzard conditions. Stay safe, everybody. Like and subscribe. Click the bell icon to get notifications when we go live, when we post new forecast videos. And also check out our daily weather posts. Our weather briefs detail the lower 48 weather conditions and forecasts on a daily basis. Definitely give us a follow also on social media. There's our handle, WeatherCastUSA, on X and Facebook. Thanks, everybody. Have a safe day, and we'll see you on the next quick cast or live stream.